Hello, hello, hello. Welcome everyone to FPL Jedi Show. This is Gameweek 12 preview week. And for sure, my name is Hafiz. Would like to welcome Azmin to the streams. How are you, sir?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Yes, as everyone else, I think this is really a low scoring week. I think there's no surprise in terms of result. If I may read out the stats for game week 11, it is the lowest scoring week so far of the season, which with the average point of 32 points. But we can see a lot of managers having nightmare like 10 points, 20 points in their team, right, man?
Yeah, I mean it's been a crazy week, and I mean it's one of those weird weeks that every now and then, maybe not necessarily every season it happens, but it does happen where a lot of people either the people you pick don't score and the team around him scores, or the person you pick just blanks totally and the whole team blanks. So it's been a crazy week. A lot of the favorite FPL picks did not return to justify the value, but it is what it is.
Yep, if I just may read out from you in terms of average points so far for the season, has been hitting like the 44 points in game week 2, game week 3, in game week 5. But there is no such thing as this game week mean 32 points, the average for the lowest so far. So there should not be any panics from the community or the managers, because I think this week, game week 11 is kind of like it's okay to have a bad result this week because everyone is having that kind of scenario. And
Yeah.
yeah, I can see. I just read out from APS side office some of the managers that having like wild carding but still scoring like 11, 12 points, and but the likes of bench, you have like plenty of points. If you have like say the likes of Archer, Kabore, those kind of player could actually getting your points on the bench, but you're not gonna play them anyway, right?
Yeah, so it's I think there were some crazy people on the bench, but apparently there were also people who had Trippier on the bench, and which was a bit confusing, I guess. But Newcastle versus Arsenal, but
Arsenal,
still,
yeah.
it's not so much matchup because of the form of the Newcastle players that should, but let's look at that as we look later on.
Okay. So for this game week 12 stream, what we're gonna have is definitely gonna take a look at how we perform in terms of game week 11 results. We take a look at some stats in game week 11, of which if there is any takeaway that we can take moving forward, especially taking into account game week 12, of which I just want to remind this will be the last week before we take another international break, the third time for this season. So the momentum, especially last week, we want to have those. We take a look at some stat of Azmin also prepared some stat in terms of captaincy and bench option. So I think Azmin will walk through that and look at some uh, fixture ticker, captain picks, and our transfer plan for this week. Yep.
Yep, let's go.
Okay. Let's go. We start off the result of game week 11. All right. So we go first to my team. As we all know, the average point for this week is actually 30 points. So I got 30 points, bang on in terms of average point. And from that point, my rank increased slightly from 9,000 to 848,000. I still take that as a good green arrow because some other people were suffering from these results. And as you can see from my team, the only one who actually strive on for my team this week is actually double digit points. Cole Palmer from Chelsea. Whoever thought that he's going to score and assist and 2 bonus points from Spurs match, who on paper and the odds also are siding to Spurs to actually win that game at home. Okay. So other than that, pretty much 1 point, 0 point, and 2 points. Can I see? Other than Bowen, who actually scored a goal, but no bonus point there. So 7 point. I will take it definitely away to sorry. West Ham, yes, away to Brentford, who actually won that game. So you
Yep.
can see our continue only 1 point. Okay, and Strakocha, who actually coming in for Flecken. Maybe we can touch about Flecken later if there is any concern in terms of those goalkeepers. So could be another option in terms of 3.4 million bracket. As we all know, we witnessed about Turner when who actually dropped against Forest against Villa. So maybe we can touch on that later also. Other than that, catch missing out 1 point because sub out early before 60th minute, and then at the same time Villa concede the goal. I think Cash received a yellow card, is it? Right. So that's where the 0 point come in. Everton, Brentford, Everton actually could easily kept a clean sheet, but a Mitoma goal deflection from Ashley Young deflected into the goal. So Everton concede one goal. Brentford got a yellow card, so 1 pointer there. So okay, fine. He has been a hero last week for me, 8 pointer, but this 1 point, I guess. Other than that, even Taylor and Gabriel only got 1 or 2 points. Simikas, I think I'm gonna question you, man. Simikas, who actually Klopp decided not to play him and started Gomez. So maybe that's also can be a concern now. Inter Simikas, maybe we can discuss later. Other than that, Saka 2 points, San 2 points, Salah 2 points. So maybe Haaland will actually do not got any involvement from that 6-1 win against Bournemouth and sub out during halftime who actually potentially ada injury scare, but I think he should be fine after showing in the Champions League last night. So then Watkins 2 points. So basically it's a bad week, man.
Well, I guess you had a better week than most actually. You know, I've seen some of our um popular content creators scoring less than 20 even, you know, and even you know 2 or 3 of the FPL Wire people, you know, scored less than us. So it's a bit of a shocker of a week, but we're not going to, you know, worry about the rest. But it just goes to show that these things can happen. So if you looking at your team, so Cash, I guess Cash decided to FPL decided to pay us back after I got Cash and last week and subbed him out before they conceded a goal. This time he got subbed out before he hit 60 minutes, so it was crazy. Bradwaite, I think we got lulled into thinking Everton after last week, Everton's super performance, and you know, in the end, you know, they still managed to concede to Brighton. So about Simikas, now Simikas, the clincher here is that he played 90 minutes in midweek, so that was the main concern with why there was suspicion that Gomez would start. And the other thing that were the only other issue was, of course, that the theory of Klopp wanting more burly, stronger players to fight against the physicalness of Luton. So in a way, it worked in a way, but I guess I would argue that Klopp made the wrong move because as a result of that style, he in the end it became, you know, it felt like a defensive move because Gomez going forward is nowhere the threat that Simikas can be. Yeah, and also in a way, you without Simikas, you also he because he is a set piece or dead ball player. So you know, obviously, not to say that Liverpool don't have other dead ball players, but maybe some of the dead ball players, dead ball situations, he was better. He would have been the better option. So we don't know. But in the end, Liverpool almost lost the game, only to, and we got lucky because Diaz came on. You know, Diaz came on and scored. You know, and God bless him. Hopefully, you know, his father will be found, but he was strong enough to come in, and you know, hopefully he'll be able to continue, and hopefully his father will come back safe and sound. So anyway, moving on. Palmer is your great pick, and I believe I did mention his stream is a great pick to have, especially because it's the last game of the week. Obviously, a London derby was something that anything can happen, and you know when you contrast it with the likes of Son who blanked, and it was a crazy week where and Spurs finally recording their first loss of the season. So Bowen coming through was great. Saka blank, and Saka, he does not look the same, and since he recovered from injury, and I'm starting to worry and need to between now and the weekend, need to look at the stats. Is he getting into the box enough? Maybe you can check out his heat map, because he looking at the eye on the eye test, he's not enough of a threat as he used to be. So we'll take a look. So Salah, yeah, what can I say? It was crazy, Liverpool, and I had Darwin as well, so it was just a frustrating week.
Don't talk about Darwin. If you
I
have
love
him and if you see that match, all right, I think Darwin could easily score at least one goal, right, man?
He did. He should have scored two. So moving. Wait, we'll get to my team in a while. But Watkins, yeah, another blank for him, and I don't know who's because that's now 2 blanks in a row for Watkins, which is something that no one really expected. And of course, Haaland not involved in 3 goals before halftime and gets subbed out at halftime. So it's insane. Nice to see you didn't have any damage on your bench. Right? Yeah. So okay. No, because I've seen quite a few of others, who had Trippier on their bench, or some bench who hurting. Palmer on the bench. I've seen that as well. Palmer on the bench.
Fair.
Yeah, because of the matchup, I think. So
I think if, let's say, if my wildcard have say Gael or one of the Crystal Palace defender, that could be the one that people going to play this week, right, man? Or against Burnley, and benching Palmer is just logic on paper, right? But at least Crystal Palace did keep a clean sheet. But if let's say you have Mitchell, then you have got that 15 points later we touch in terms of team of the week, right? So let's jump to your team. So you got only 26 points, but at least still averaging near to that 30 pointer. Your rank slightly reduced from 3.9 to 4.2, but still
okay.
Yeah.
So Pickford again, and now that we've turned it out, I think the time is due for me to do something about my keeper situation. I can't trust Everton. Cash, we talked about Simicas, we talked about Pedro Porro. I guess I'm lucky. It could have been worse. It could have been Udogi, for crying out loud. So because there are people who still have Udogi, whether it's because he was injured, and some people sold him at a wild card, but other people still kept him. So I'm just glad it was not him. Yeah. So when I woke up in the morning at 6 a.m. in Malaysia time and saw the scores, and I thought it was going to be crazy, but then later on I saw that Son and Madison did score, so that's I'm still safe. So in truth, the last game did not impact my rank as much. I had already dropped a bit, but because none of the popular picks scored, except for those who had Palmer is the main clincher for last week. Who has Jackson, for crying out loud. Anyway, so Saka, Salah, Douglas Luiz, okay, and a blank for him. Although to be fair, I wasn't really expecting much. Away he hasn't performed as well, but still, it just collective of Villa losing. Gordon was great. I'm happy at the time I celebrated Gordon. Who would have thought Gordon would turn out to be the only guy to return for my team? Yeah, right. Yeah,
and even and assist from Bomo, we can count that, man.
Yeah, and then the assist from Bomo. So yeah, but Bomo, speaking of Bomo, he was my transfer last week, and unfortunately the Brentford West Ham match, it was explosive. It had the goals that I expected. Well, unfortunately Bomo was not responsible for any that. Well, he did an assist, but not directly scoring. Then of course Darwin. Oh God, it's just he'll have these weeks where he's just missing everything, and then he'll have weeks where he's just has a golden touch, and then there's also weeks where days where he has both. It's just it's just Darwin. So as much as I was frustrated, I was concerned. In fact, I knew this is what I signed up for when I picked him, so it's gonna happen. Last week I did well, this week not so much. So obviously this weekend I need him to do well to justify. No issues on the bench. So yeah, it was an issue of, do I bench White? And in the end I did, and it was the wrong move, but it only cost me 2 points or something. and Amduni, who I was never going to play anyway, and Gusto as well, who did play, I think, but yeah, end up 0 points anyway. So yeah, all in all, disappointing week, but I'm just happy that my transfer did return. If my transfer had not returned, I'd be more disappointed. Uh, but it's okay. I'm not really frustrated, because given that it was a frustrating week for the whole community, except for a few great souls who had, maybe Palmer, who had Doku. So
Yeah.
I'm okay. Yeah, not affected
Just
at all in
a
terms
quick
of.
question for you, Min. Since you still have
Hmm.
wildcard in your hand, uh, do you feel more urge in terms of maybe it is time to do it?
No, I initially
No.
thought about it, but because I would wildcard if my scores was really horrible relative to others, but it was not the case. I mean, it's not like every team. It's not like 50% of the teams had Doku, Palmer,
Okay.
Gordon, you know,
Yeah.
and captain one of them rather than captaining, our Salah Haaland picks. So no, I'm not really in a rush. To be fair, some of the matchups do look a bit tough, not so great, but um, I'm still content to hold. But let's
Okay.
see. But we know that Cash and Haaland. Cash is apparently he's okay. He was
Okay.
training for his
Mm.
tonight.
Mm. Okay.
Tomorrow night's it is at Alkmaar, I think the matchup is.
Mm.
And Haaland, of course, we know that he returned last in the
Yep.
midweek.
Both should be okay. All right. Min, let's go to the stats for game week 11, the captaincy. As you can see, Min, all blanks, the top five captain by managers. The most one, Haaland captain by 6.4, only one like myself, okay? Only got 1 point. Because Man City game was the early one, right?
Yes.
Because Liverpool, the Villa, the Spurs are playing on Sunday or even Monday night. So when Haaland blank so called and only got 1 point, who actually Captain Salah around 1.6 million will feel better. You can't go wrong, right? Salah against Utah, at least one goal will be enough to um, climb the rank, because the Haaland captains are not doing good this week. But it turns only 2 points, so it's not that damaging. Then around 314,000 managers who brave enough to captain Watkins also disappointed, because Villa lost away to Forest, and we know Forest on paper, at least at home, they are tough actually. But if you're brave enough to captain Watkins, you do not get any points for that. 2 points. Same goes to Son. Home to Chelsea, there is potential that Spurs going to win that game, but it turns out Spurs lost big one, and with the two players sent off, the 206,000 who brave enough to captain Son also do not have anything, and also Alvarez. At least Man City 6-1 Bournemouth, Alvarez cannot blank, right? At least get something, but he actually did that also. So there's no major shake up in terms of captaincy this week. I mean, all are okay, all are good.
So after Haaland blanked, and then there was a lot of noise on the Twitter, but I'm not one of those types to start gloating, because I captain Salah. So
Okay.
so because counting your chickens before they hatch was ridiculous, something I don't do, but it was so horrible, some of it, and then all the arguments start, I'll need to see all the other popular all captaincies all blank after as well. Salah, Watkins were all playing the later games, Son even. Yeah, so they were all playing the later games, and they still blanked anyway. So I'm gloating now that, I've got 1 point extra over you, Hafiz, because I kept Haaland. But it was just a crazy week, and I think there was some, I saw on the Twitter, some people had Captain Doku, but it's just not, those are rare. No, it's not a commonalities anywhere. So yeah, it's crazy, and the Spurs Chelsea, I think a lot of people came into it thinking that Spurs are going to win that one, not going to be an issue. So but and that's why you saw people benching the likes of Palmer,
Yep.
Yeah, but in the end, it was the match. The result was not something that we expected would happen. I mean,
Yeah. Yep. I
hat
agree.
trick from Jackson. So
Oh,
so anyway, yeah. So no issues. The captaincy who got right or wrong is too rare. There's
not
too few people who actually succeeded with the captaincy that week. So it's just part of the game. You got to deal
all
with it.
right. Fair. Let's move on to team of the week, Min. Yes, there'll be a lot of differentiation inside here for sure. But when I actually snapshot it from the LPS side, the total points for this week is actually 150 points, because normally when I actually snapshot team of the week, they score around average 130 or lower. So 150 points. I'm surprised with a lot of differentiation here, because there's a lot of defenders scoring double digit this time around. The top performer for this week for sure is Jeremy Doku, who actually no one, even his ownership like 6% or even around there, no one gonna pick him, but he actually scored a goal, 4 assists, I think. So it means that he's actually meeting some of the level like Pogba at one time, who actually produced an assist, 4 assists in a game, but it's a rare one. So definitely Doku is his show this week in terms of game week 11 top performer. Other than that, I think who dominated inside this team of the week? Can I say Crystal Palace defense? Johnston and Mitchell. The Johnston, as you know, yeah, early of the season, thinking about Dean Henderson coming into Crystal Palace, Johnston could lose his place, but Henderson are not on side yet because in terms of injury, and Johnston is there, keeping clean sheet. I think he also got some save point and bonus point. Mitchell, on the other hand, the traffic more to Anderson and Guile. Even Guile actually increased price from 4.5 to 4.6. But now if you do not have money, Mitchell could come into free with 4.5. And he actually delivered a goal, a clean sheet, and 3 bonus points. So there you are, 15 points. I think I saw the FPS cast. Andy got Mitchell in his team. So he got like a good points from the defender, 15 points. Other than that,
yeah, so just having Mitchell alone made such a big difference to the whole team. But yeah, credit to those who stuck with the Crystal Palace defense. I think the more people had Johnston, and I think there were people who also chose Guehi as well. Yeah. As the option for a defender, but it paid off because Crystal Palace's defensive expectations against Burnley proved right, and they managed to keep a clean sheet. So well done those who had Palace. Aina is not someone people had picked, or even Michaelenko, purely because of Everton's suspect issues, and Braithwaite is there because he's cheap, I think. So he'll be in people's teams, but not Michaelenko. Then so Bernardo Silva again, every now and then he pops up and does extremely well. So that's the one fellow that
he got 2 goals, right, man? Bernardo Silva.
Yeah,
so it's not going to be.
At the end, it's still hard for us to pick him, isn't it? So he's not one of those. He scores 2 goals and suddenly everyone's clamoring to get into his team. Compared to Doku, of course, and so I can go on record right now, Hafiz, and even though I haven't made any transfers yet, normally I don't get this season anyway. I'm not rushing to get someone in after he does remarkably well.
Okay.
But I'm very tempted to bring in Doku immediately.
Hey. Oh my god!
I just So I don't know. I just feel I watched the game, and I wasn't so frustrated looking at Haaland because I didn't captain him anyway. But it's just that the way he played was quite amazing. Although and he has such good decision making skills and knows where to go at the right time. But obviously, it is Bournemouth. I have to put it into context. It is Bournemouth. So will he be able to go against it, to do well, following after better teams? We're not sure. And the fact that they play Chelsea next may be enough to put people off him. But that just makes me want him even more. And
you're not afraid about in terms of minutes because Grealish also play on left side. Maybe this game Pep wants to play a bit of controlish game, so maybe Doku is not the one that Pep are going to play.
I don't know. We'll see. I haven't checked the lineup from the last night. You know how much Doku was in high volume.
Doku actually come in the last 10 minutes or something like that.
Okay, so it fares by. If Doku does play, he may be up against my favorite player, Reece James. so I just feel that Doku is that he could stretch Reece James to the point that Reece James gets injured again. So I don't know. We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, but I am so tempted at the point. So
I did-
okay, Bruno Fernandes popping up again. After everyone had sold him, so unfortunately, he's not going to tempt us back into him. Although to be fair, those who still have him, it is another good matchup, which is against Luton. Yeah, so it's those who have him definitely don't see why you've already kept him so now until now you shouldn't sell him. Jackson, yeah, well, I putting into context, it was a 9-man Spurs.
Yeah.
In the end, so I wouldn't be too attracted to that. Palmer, did mention that Palmer is just, I don't have an issue with Palmer, just the people around him. Yeah, so and because of what happened with Spurs, Madison being injured, Doku getting sent off, it just all the situation combined to so that there was no way Jackson could screw that up that badly. But I do want to point out Kudus. Kudus started and finally stepping up and doing well. Definitely something to look forward to and seeing whether he should nail it back, the starting spot. He does play. The next match is Forest at home, so it's worth looking at and considering. I think West Ham's matches are quite decent as well.
Yeah, fair. Later we look at the fixture ticker of which we will know who actually team on the top later. But Kudus actually the one who coming into fray right now. I think we shall see in terms of Europa League lineup. West Ham, if let's say Kudus did not start that one, maybe he actually play in during the weekend in terms of Premier League game. So I think that's so I think this is something that not so common people going to have. Maybe Bruno is the better or the most player that people might familiar in this lineup, but in terms of Manchester United form is not great. But they have fixture for the next 3, right? Like mentioned, we take a look later. If you have him, maybe against is it Luton Town, right, this week, right? So
Manchester United play Luton. Crystal Palace play Everton. The one thing about Crystal Palace is Eze is back and he came off at the bench and immediately assisted Mitchell's goal. So it's definitely something to look at as Crystal Palace come back.
As an ex-owner, so definitely you can share your.
He owes me. He owes me. Let's see.
All right, just a bit stat from Gameweek 11 in terms of teams, performance, and players. In terms of teams shot, the most is most definitely from the likes of Liverpool, slightly 24 shots. Man City is up there also. Chelsea or against Spurs still high in terms of shots, but the likes of Burnley and Manchester United are also in the top 5 teams in terms of shots. In terms of chance created, Liverpool also on top, man. Matching with Man City. So Liverpool and Man City is really up there in terms of attacking potential. So they should be in the fray. The likes of Haaland, Salah. But later we touch, there's some also Liverpool player coming up into potential that you can actually engage on. Maybe Nunes is someone that we know, all right? In terms of players, Nunes, man, we don't mention about Darwin. He has a lot of shots there, okay? Also some big chances, misses there. But in terms of chances created, also Liverpool player, the likes of Trent. Liverpool might not keep tight so far, but in terms of Trent, stats is there. Maybe he's the one that we should monitor, or maybe if you feel that you're comfortable with him to jump in before others do, right? But their fixture against Gameweek 13 game Man City could deter that. So what do you think, mean? What significant from these stats that you can see?
Yeah, the chances created is tough one because you got TA who's got created the same amount of chances as Fulham, and bear in mind that Fulham played Manchester United, so it's hard because at the end of the day, TAA costs so much more. and so picking him out is always going to be an issue. So the main thing that I'm love is the fact of Doku being there. So he's scoring the goal. I think he had 1 goal and 4 assists, 3 assists.
Yeah,
Yeah,
four
so
assists.
so 4 assists. So it's just what I said about earlier about him having some great decision making, and it does seem to be the case. Um, in terms of the top graph, I'm not going to worry too much. Yeah, I still have Nunes. Bruno Fernandes still being there is great. So well done to those who still have him. And he could do well the next match. Yeah. As for that, the other three, I'm not going to too much. Jackson. Yeah. So, but Jackson next match they play City. So
Yep.
you're not can't expect another hat trick. So it's not. So it'll probably be a hold off, and then we need to check, for Jackson, because the likes of Nkunku, where is he at in his recovery? Yeah. So,
Okay. Let's go quickly on the matches played on Gameweek 11. In terms of key highlights, only 5 teams home wins and 3 away. Okay, but slightly lower in terms of clean sheet, 4 clean sheet, but number of goals still high there in terms of 30 goals. Even though we can see the most high scoring game is Man City versus Bournemouth, but we already know the likes of Haaland and Alvarez are not involved in the attacking returns. Other than that, Chelsea rare win away to Spurs, but is playing with 9 men. We do expect from the likes of Liverpool to win, but only 1 goals against Luton Town. And at the last minute, no involvement in terms of Darwin and Salah. Newcastle versus Arsenal, quick one, 1-0, kept a clean sheet. 3 players from Newcastle in that game. 3 players got 3 bonus points, all equal. Then I saw Lascelles, Trippier, and so Jolinton, if I'm not mistaken. So that's really a rare one. Other than that, maybe a short win, Sheffield United against Wolves. People expect Wolves to win, right? But Sheffield United, who else? Archer performing, goal and 3 bonus point there. So what else you want to touch me? Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess that's the other bench player who ended up with a lot of goals, with a lot of points with just Archer. Okay, so Newcastle Arsenal, we know all about the hoo-ha about the goal with the a lot of the referee issues, but I don't want to waste time talking about that. Even though I do worry about Arteta's reaction, very petulant and very after because 2 weeks ago, because after what happened with Liverpool against Spurs, he was saying about how referees should make mistakes. Referees do make mistakes. I think we have to accept it. And then when it happens, because it happened when it happens to his team, and suddenly he goes all and attacking. Oh, it's very disappointing. It's ruining the game. Blah blah blah. So yeah, piss off Arteta. It's just we have accepted it. It's gonna continue to happen. Let them fix it. Okay, so Brentford West Ham came exactly how I thought it would be, with lots of goals, unfortunately. So which is why I picked up Mbeumo, but because West Ham defensive issues were always going to be suspect, especially with Paqueta and Alvarez suspended. Yeah, but unfortunately, it wasn't Mbeumo who was scoring the goal. So yeah, that's the thing. Fulham versus Manchester United. I thought it was going to be 1-0 either way. So I just got it wrong because I actually thought Fulham would steal this one and put more pressure. So ETH gets another week of respite, and let's see. And the next one is against Luton, so I would it's another chance for him to stay. Burnley versus Crystal Palace. So look, Crystal Palace keeping a clean sheet, and also with the return of Eze, maybe you can start looking at attacking returns as the future gets better. City Bournemouth, no need to talk about that one. Luton Liverpool was just a frustrating game. Forest versus Villa, that's why I didn't put much hope with Douglas Luiz then doing anything, because I thought Forest at home were are much better, and overall Forest are a better side compared to last season. So I was never gonna put much hope in it, although cash was frustrating. And yeah, so Everton Brighton again. I was actually tempted to bring in DCL Because the thing with Everton is that they are still creating a lot of chances. It's just that the finishing isn't there. And the thing is, DCL is a great finisher, but he's not going to be there for every ball that Everton play into the box. So everyone else needs to contribute. So the chances are there. And Brighton are West Ham, they're a decent side, but not great in terms of the defense. So I thought that Brighton would have more goals in it than they finally did. Brighton, I just wonder whether their injury issues is starting to too much chopping and changing. Is that going to impact them as well? I'm worried.
Yep. So we already touched me. I think just point out at least Manchester United kept a clean sheet. So basically, if you have like the likes of Enabler, Maguire, a bonus point at even Dalot. So maybe there is some gem that we're trying to find. You did mention about Eze, Crystal Palace. If he's potentially starts that game, he's at 6.1, right? So his price already really reduced. Okay. Other than usual suspect, Momo still produced, Mitoma still produced an assist and got a bonus point there against Everton. So that's not so frustrating in terms of if you have Mitoma. Okay. The next match is against Sheffield United at home. So maybe if he did not play on, is most likely to start right against Sheffield United. So there's still potential there. You mentioned about Gordon, another Embler who actually produced. Okay, 7 points there. Villa continue to frustrating. If like Wakadia like me, man, back to back blank. If you have Doug Lewis, Diaby, maybe your fortune is different. But if you only have Cash and Watkins, say, so can be quite frustrating. So it is something to think.
Yeah, and you mentioned Gordon just now, and the thing is, because of that matchup, a lot of people were also benching. But then the thing with that match is that if it was the defenders, fine, I get it. We bench the likes of Gabriel, the likes of Trippier, because you see that. But in terms of the actual goal threat, Newcastle's XG leading up to this match was just so high that it was impossible. It just felt so incredible not to field your attackers against Arsenal, because although Arsenal are one of the better sides, but with the XG of Newcastle just more than 10, you just can't not have if you have a Newcastle, play him. Yeah, so Gordon,
Okay.
but of course Gordon got the goal, so I'm happy because I have Gordon.
Man, we already talked about game week 11. Let's move forward. Take a look at the fixture ticker so far for the next 6 game at least, from game week 12 up to 17. Who's on the top of the ticker? It is West Ham United, man. So we did mention the likes of Kudus. If you kind of say, you do not like the Kudus could come into fray. West Ham next 6 fixture, Forest at home, Burnley away. I think that's interesting one. Coming back from international break, Burnley. We have home Crystal Palace. Yep, can be tough, but he's playing at home. Away to Spurs, then Fulham and Wolves. So that's why West Ham are at the top of the ticker. Forest also up there. West Ham United, Brighton, Everton, Fulham, Wolves, and Spurs only. The top 6 so-called, but we are not sure whether we're going to any Nottingham Forest asset. Maybe early of the season we're talking about Aoni, but not so much lately. But you just never know. Maybe he's the one that we are looking at. Arsenal continue at top ticker, number 3. The Burnley is the interesting match this week. We all did mention before this, Burnley hasn't kept any clean sheet so far. So most probably they will continue to do that this week. At home, Arsenal should be strong enough. Then Brentford, Wolves, Luton Town, Villa and Brighton. So those are really, really crispy in terms of fixture. Newcastle also there. Yes, Chelsea and Manchester United are tough fixture in the next 3, but at least they are playing at home, and we know Newcastle could easily be strong enough but I'm not sure what's the impact in terms of Dortmund game midweek. They lost, so that Champions League competition is up in the air, but they need to win the next 2, which is against AC Milan and PSG. So they really, really need to focus there. that those restrictions might disrupt their run. But Trippier, less of Trippier, is someone that we know always gonna produce in terms of Newcastle. Everton, number 5th there. If you start with some money, then maybe Everton could produce some enabler, right? Yeah. Other than that, at the bottom ticker, Luton Town. We are not going to there, but tougher. Chelsea still in the mix. Man City, Newcastle, and Brighton, and Manchester United, the next 4. So it's going to be tough. But Villa, after Fulham, the Villa, I just want to touch. They have Spurs, Man City, and Arsenal in the next 5. So maybe is it time to jump ship once the Fulham fixture over? Maybe. Min, what interests you in terms of fixture ticker? You're on mute, Min.
Yeah, so West Ham is definitely something to look at. But when I say West Ham something to look at, of course, I mean in terms of the attack. The defense remains as hopeless. They're just going to concede. But attacking wise, Forest at home, not away. Then Burnley anywhere. Crystal Palace is a tough one. Because we know Crystal Palace are a good defensive side. Spurs, I'm not sure, because now Spurs, originally it would have been that might be the right color, but now they've lost Van der Ven to injury. That's huge. Udogi should be back, I guess.
Robert, the next 3 he was suspended, maybe.
Yeah. So it's fine, but VDB, so they have a chance to burn it, but it's not as great. The matchup does not look as tough as it could be. Yeah, then Fulham and Wolves as well, you know. Just now you mentioned Wolves, so Wolves are at number 6. So it's quite impressive, but again, with Neto out, you can afford to wait a week until the Spurs matchup is over. I wanted to mention, so Everton there at number 5, because I mentioned earlier about Everton are still creating chances. So it's great, but again, they play against Crystal Palace, who are defensively strong. So if you are looking at bringing in Everton assets, maybe you can wait till next week against the following week against Manchester United, then Forest, then another tough game against Newcastle. But then Chelsea and Burnley are both matches that they can score. But to do that, they need to give the chances to DCL, because he seems to be the only one who is able to finish off. Into turn the chances into goals. So Newcastle, now, because I think during the World Cup, a lot of people went off Newcastle quite a bit, and even Trippier, who was benched last week, or even sold. I've seen people selling Trippier because they needed to fit in Salah and Haaland, and there was just too many. The picks were just getting a lot more expensive. Arsenal as well. So in the end, some people even sold Trippier in the wild cards. I don't think that's an issue. Although to be fair, the problem with Newcastle now is the injury issue, and but until we see real hard evidence, at the moment Newcastle still tops the list in terms of total X. Oh no! They've dropped a bit. They dropped a bit for after last week, but they still remain one of the top at the top in terms of their XG. So if you still have Newcastle assets, obviously you'll play them Bournemouth, but there's no real reason to sell them anyway. So I would like to get on that actually, the Newcastle, and see who I can bring. I don't have Trippier. I wish I did. I do have Gordon, which is good. Wilson, but Isaac seems to have returned, so may be ready to start again in the weekend. So then that causes trouble again in terms of picking Newcastle assets. So again,
just want to touch a bit. We did discuss offline in terms of Newcastle defender, because I think if I'm right, Botman recovered his injury. Burn are declared out for at least quite some time, right? It's like 2 months or something like that. So, and then Target is the next best left back, who actually also injured, and we can see in terms of Champions League match last night, Hall played on the left side, Livramento played somewhere on the a bit on the right side. Later, after second half, Hall sub out, and then maybe Trippier move to the left and Livramento somewhere right back, so they can switch on. But I just want to point out, we did not mention so much. No love for Lascelles at 4 million, last time 3.9, who could actually be more nailed than ever, because with Bird and Bournemouth out, so he will partner with Shaw in defense. And if you do not have money, I think 4 million Lascelles could be an interesting one, mate.
Yeah. So yeah, Lascelles there, but the security of starts is there, but the problem is, can they keep up with the clean sheets? So with Tonali out as well, it's a lot of disruption. Plus, as you mentioned earlier, the distraction of the Champions League. So they really need to figure it out and find a way to still do well in the league, but make it into qualifying for the next round of the Champions League, which they are in a lot of strife at the moment.
Yeah. Because the next one is important one. If I'm right,
Yeah.
home against Milan, right? So they really
Milan,
needs to win. Yeah.
they got a draw the last time they played them.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
it's a group of death lah. They also have PSG, and then Dortmund was I never expected them to get anything against Dortmund actually, because Dortmund are just so well drilled for the Champions League. So it's just going to be tough for Newcastle in there. But over here,
I'm not a fan of Newcastle, but I'm not going to write them off yet, because they could actually produce against AC Milan and maybe away to PSG. We just never know, right?
I want to see what happens with Livramento, because he was playing quite far forward in midfield, so he could be an OOP if that keeps up, especially with the fact that with all the injuries.
I'm right, his price 4.3, so interesting one.
Yeah, cheap enough, but because he's a right-sided player, so his direct replacement arguably is Trippier.
Yeah.
But because of the injuries, Trippier continues to play at right back and Livramento goes forward, so it looks very interesting. We'll find out team news later.
Just quick one in terms of stat, goal track. We already mentioned about Nunes. The last 4 game weeks, he is on top in terms of attempts. Second, Mbomo. There, in terms of stat, he is there. In terms of midfield, Mbomo are better than Salah in terms of shots at least. Okay, but you should not question in terms of Mbomo potential. Got that double digit because the stat also showing there. Salah is there also. Other than that, Billion maybe not so much, but Bruno, in terms of shots, also there. We are not going to go there, but if you start with him, like we mentioned, it's okay for you to let him play for the next 2 or 3 matches, right? So other than that, Jackson, maybe Palmer, yes, to extent, but we do not expect him. I think that penalty goal make a difference, because usually when Palmer involved, looks like when he's actually taking the penalty. Other than that, if he might be quiet in terms of performance. So Nunes, yes, stats, but it's a frustrating player for sure, right?
Yeah, so last 4 game week threats, so you got Nunes, Mbeumo, Salah all quite high, and I have all 3. so but in terms of the stats wise, I got that right, at least in terms of expecting those games to do well, and that's why I bought Mbeumo. Just interesting note that Haaland is way down, because obviously this is in terms of attempts, the total. So 10 is still not that bad, but you would expect his attempts to be up there rather than, with nearer to the likes of Mbeumo and Salah rather than Bowen, Nketiah, and so on. So you have to bear the question, of City. Given that they still scored 6 goals against Bournemouth, but he was not involved at all. Well, to be fair, he got helped out at halftime. But we know, compared to last season, they are not over-reliant on Haaland to score the goals anymore. If you remember last season, Pep was saying about every strategy is to get the ball to Haaland for him to score. That strategy doesn't seem to be in place anymore. It doesn't seem to be the thing. And plus the fact, I guess, maybe also that the opposing teams have, more doubling up on him, preventing him space. But as a result, giving others the opportunity to score more. So even though they ended up scoring 6 goals last week, and although Haaland was a part of that, I'm still a bit doubtful about captaining Haaland until I see a bit more involvement from him. And to be fair, they are playing Chelsea this week, so maybe he won't be as popular captaincy threat. Other than that, nothing else I can point out. Watkins dropping a bit. Owen, Douglas Lewis squeezing in is quite cute. Nketiah, I think this week might be the time to play him again. So
I just want to mention from this at least top 15 players to goal threat. When we talk about Arsenal having a great fixture, but Arsenal assets where the likes of Saka, Martinelli is not there. Nketiah is the only there who are actually producing in terms of attack. So maybe he's the one to go if you thinking about any Arsenal assets. The second one I just want to touch, West Ham on the top ticker, but in terms of who actually make a lot of that is only Bowen inside here. Maybe Kudus is not so much in terms of stats. Is coming into fray just now, but at least Bowen is there if you want to think. Other than that, not so much.
Yeah, definitely. So with Bowen, when you watch his match, he's always trying to get into positions to score. So definitely Bowen, it's great. I know I wasn't that keen on him against Everton the week before. Yeah, but moving now, I think it's definitely someone to, if you already have him, great. If you don't, maybe you should get him in.
Okay, quickly next one in terms of chances created. I did mention about Liverpool assets. In terms of chances created, the last 4 game weeks, he solves both line. So interesting. He is up there in terms of assist potential, big chances created. So it's under radar. We might not double up any midfielder in terms of Liverpool, Salah, but Soboslai could we mentioned price is 7.1. Liverpool have decent fixture, so not bad. Second one, Gallagher. I'm not too sure about this. You could get a Palmer at cheaper price, and he's taking penalty, so maybe not so much love in Gallagher. But in terms of his involvement, his potential, he is up there. But Chelsea is still lacking in terms of getting those goals. When we talk about lacking in terms of attack, Martinelli is up here in terms of attack, so he is worth to mention here. Okay. In terms of Arsenal asset, I cannot see other Arsenal asset there, even the likes of Saka. Maybe we can actually go to Martinelli. You did mention about Everton, McNeil, who actually going to produce anything to supply crosses or ball to DCL, right? So he is there. Yep, man. Other than that, if you want to touch anyone else.
Yeah, so Soboslai, yes, you're definitely, if you haven't tripled up on Liverpool, he is getting forward a lot. Of the midfield three, he's the most further forward, compared to the likes of Gravenberch and McAllister. Definitely he's the one tasked to go forward and attack. So if you haven't tripled up, it may be something to consider. All right, or even if you don't have Darwin or Tsimikas, you still only just have Salah. It'd be a nice double up. I wanted to mention the fact that we were talking about Arsenal, and Saka is nowhere to be found on both chances created and goal attempts. He's not in either one, isn't he? I think the spec is not there, so it is a worry. It is a concern. Arsenal play tonight, so let's see what happens there. Yeah. Otherwise, I can't believe I'm considering selling him against Burnley. But we'll see. It's just that others look more attractive. The stats are there. Trippier continues to be there as well. Madison as well. Pereira is just, he's creating the chances, but with no Mitrovic in front of him, it's just not, it's just not viable. It's just tough. Raul Jimenez is nowhere the player that he used to be. So Salah down there with Ward-Prowse, the late Ward-Prowse from my team. And with Kudus starting regularly, Ward-Prowse could come back into the picture as well. So, but the problem is if he's still playing quite defensive, then it's no-go. But something to monitor given West Ham are at the top of the fixture ticker.
Next one, you prepared us some statistics in terms of SG and SGC. And maybe you can elaborate because these stats you actually take it from the Fantasy Football Hub.
Okay, so thanks to Fantasy Football Hub, So we've always talked about XG and XGC as a way to measure, and obviously there are other factors involved as well, like any players out injured, any the fixtures as well, who they play against. So what I've done, and this is a way of both trying to figure out who to captain as well as things like, I think after the World Cup, people have players who can be on the bench but can also play, so they need to make these decisions as well. They're not just fodder anymore. So I decided to look into a different way of looking at things and seeing who to transfer and who to sell or who to bench. And the method I'm using is the reason I brought in Mbuemo, for example. Yeah, but obviously last week was just one horrible match after another. But this is something I'm going to trial. So what I've done is basically take the scores of XG and XGC of both teams, look at from the last 5 games. Okay, I put 5 games because I feel the season is too much of a stretch, given that teams from the start of the season have changed so much compared to now. They either doing better or doing worse significantly. I think the last 5 matches is more proper way to look at it. So that's what I've done. So XG and XGC. So rather than just look at XG as, like, for example, Spurs, their XG against, leading up to this is 7.66. Instead of just looking at the Spurs XG, I also look at the Wolves XGC and add them together. So for example, and whatever it is becomes the attack score, and the other way around becomes the defensive score. So take, for example, Wolves, they are playing Spurs. So the attack score is 6.04, which is the XG, plus the XGC of Spurs. So then that's how I come to 13.94. So that's Wolves' attacking score. Whereas Spurs attacking is XG of 7.66 plus the XGC of Wolves 6.4, and I get to 14.06. So when you look at that, that's almost equal for the Wolves Spurs match. So you could see that both teams have equal chances of scoring, and you'd think the match would go 1-1, 2-2, more or less a draw. Now that's Wolves Spurs. Now if you want to contrast to the likes of Newcastle, where are they? Newcastle are away. So their XG is 10.9, but they're playing Bournemouth, who has a horrible XG of 11. XGC of 11. So you add that total up, and the total becomes 21.9 in terms of Newcastle chances of scoring against Bournemouth. It's because you consider both the attacking prowess of the attacking team versus the defensive prowess of the defensive team. And Newcastle end up having the highest attacking score of 21.9. Okay, now contrast to the next highest, which is Manchester United, 20.21 against Luton. So it's not, and in this case, it's not so much that Manchester United are good at scoring, because they're not. Their XG is only 5.91, but Luton's XGC is currently the worst, 14.3, and that's how I ended up with the attacking score 20.21. Now, this doesn't take into account who is going to do the scoring, so that one is something that's a decision needs to be made there. Yeah, but obviously they will have their chances. We saw against the Liverpool-Luton goal, it's just the poor finishing of Liverpool that they didn't score 3-4 goals. So the same thing is going to apply to Manchester United.
Okay.
Any question? You understand? Is it making sense?
Yeah, I think it makes sense. But from this table, if I may say this week, looks like the game of with the highest attack. You mentioned about Newcastle there against Bournemouth. Those are the team that you should target and find who actually the players inside that team. Can I say that?
Yeah. So who are the players? That's the part we need to figure it out. But you would expect goals to be scored. So looking at, I ranked them on a separate sheet, but looking at the top 4, and they are quite away in terms of the attack score, total attack score. They're quite far from the other teams by at least 3 points. Newcastle, Manchester United, Arsenal, and Liverpool. So those are the matches where you expect a lot of goals to happen. Yeah, whether it's because they're in the Newcastle and Liverpool case is because their attack is so good. Manchester United is because Luton's attack is so bad. Arsenal is a bit of a mix of the two as well. So,
Interesting.
but Burnley's at no, Burnley is at the moment. Arsenal's attack is not great. It's nowhere as good as Newcastle and Liverpool, but because Burnley's defense is poor, 11.7, and that's why they end up with a total score. Yeah, so that's how I put it, and it
so far it worked for you, right, Min?
well, it's still a trial phase. I only started it last week. It worked for me last week, but we know how scores went last week. so it definitely I'm gonna trial the system as well.
Maybe we can actually discuss this again in 1 month time and see how you succeed based on this table. But interesting, I can see some of the stats there that actually solidify my decision, say especially for this week.
Yeah. So just a quick one. So because I also have the defense score, so defense score is basically just the reverse. And if you're looking for clean sheets, then you want to target those with a higher defensive score because it is totals again versus, and you can see that currently defensive wise, Burnley has the worst. So the chances are that defensive score, who is the worst? Bournemouth is the worst. So that's why we Newcastle assets look so good because Newcastle's great attack versus Bournemouth's poor defense.
Okay, fair. The only thing is they are playing away to Wolves. To Bournemouth, sorry. If they're playing at home against Bournemouth, it is really a strong case to do that, right?
I don't know. I do feel Bournemouth's manager is at the risk of losing his job soon.
So you're predicting he's going to go first at the first quality in terms of manager?
Yeah, to be fair, it is another tough match, so you don't expect. Can you check that fixture ticker as to who Bournemouth play after this? Sheffield United. So they might stay for but Villa, if they lose against Villa and Crystal Palace, is off. That's it for him. Yeah, and those are not easy matches. Obviously, if he loses to Sheffield, he'll definitely be off. But he that's a limited time for him to stay. So yeah.
Well, you cannot recall Gary O'Neill to come back to Bournemouth, but unless you want to call back Scott Parker, I'm not sure. All right, let's go to the game week 12 fixture. Take a look. Who's playing who this week? Is Wolves versus Spurs, the early kickoff so-called at 8:30 p.m. Malaysian time. And then at 11 p.m. tasty, or can I say Moneyball game, Arsenal versus Burnley. We expect big scoring game like Sheffield United final. Maybe this also the game because Burnley hasn't kept any clean sheet so far. Then we have Crystal Palace and Everton. This is going to be a tight affair, for sure, because both are, can I say, form in terms of at least on defensive side, so they will keep it tight. Manchester United versus Luton. We do expect big game for Manchester United, but their form, I think Luton can Luton Tom facing Liverpool, right? So they still kept Liverpool. Maybe Liverpool did not take that chance. So this game also can be in that kind of scenario. So Manchester United might not easily like tear apart Luton in terms of goals. Other than that, this is the Moneyball game also. Maybe Newcastle against Bournemouth. They lost Champions League match. Bournemouth, they want to bounce back quickly. So Bournemouth could actually be the game. Then on Sunday, we have 4 matches there. Aston Villa versus Fulham. We have Brighton versus Sheffield United. Potentially, Brighton could win easily here. But Sheffield United got a really tonic win at home last Sheffield United. So their first win. So they actually want to continue their momentum. Liverpool versus Brentford, maybe not straightforward. Brentford has back-to-back win. So they want to continue that for sure. But Brentford have Liverpool. And then is it Man City or Arsenal next? That's the tough match. Then we have West Ham United versus Forest. Looks like West Ham could win this, but Forest is not a walk in the park for sure. And then yes, a big one, Chelsea versus Man City. We shall see. Pochettino can he actually try to match Man City, but if you try to do that and we are not careful, Man City could actually tear Chelsea apart at home. So those are the fixture made for game day.
So yeah, so I guess the question now, who's the captaincy on your mind, Hafiz?
It's going to be tough, but for now is I'm looking at Liverpool Brentford first. But you did mention about that those pointer to SGC. Arsenal could be an interesting one, even though can I trust Saka? Later we shall see.
Yeah, to be fair, Liverpool, based on my scores, Liverpool are just below Arsenal in terms of attacking score. So their attacking score is still strong, mainly because Liverpool's attack more than Brentford's defense. But Brentford's defense isn't that great either, so they're okay and rate quite average as well. So the problem with Arsenal Burnley is trying to figure out the attacker. You would think that Nketiah is the man in form, rather than Saka. So it's currently looking like a waste of space. You also have to consider. I'm sorry, it's just frustrating to see with Arsenal because I have Saka, so it's very, very frustrating. So Manchester United in another planet, we'd be captaining Bruno Fernandes against this one. Yeah, but not the case. So Brighton versus Sheffield. Now, to be fair, Sheffield's defense has improved a bit. They're no longer among the top 3 worst XGC. They're actually number 4th worst now. Yeah, the problem with exploiting is that Brighton's ever-changing lineup makes it hard to figure it out. We sticking with Adinga and Mitoma instead of someone who's just trusted to score, so that we're down to doing that. And the problem with Brighton, of course, is they are also in trouble in Europe, so they would need to expend some resources on Thursday night and try to fork out the win. So it is a problem. So not so much for Liverpool. Liverpool are in a very comfortable position in Europe, so it's not an issue. They can rest the players. But Brighton, no. Brighton are nowhere like that. Aston Villa need to win this one. I think the last game week was a sweet suspect. So I would expect Villa to comfortably win this one. So hang on to your Watkins.
Yeah, better at home anyway, right?
Yeah, Watkins, Diaby. Diaby got unlucky. It was quite unlucky last week. Yeah, and of course, I'm banking on Douglas Luiz track record at home.
Okay, fair. Those are the fixture. Let's go to the next one, of which we're talking about captaincy. Pikmin, you mentioned who should we choose this week in terms of captain poll at fantasy football site. A lot of managers are picking Salah. Okay, 35% managers. Liverpool versus Brentford at home. Second, Saka. Arsenal versus Burnley. It's really, really tasty in terms of. But the only thing is whether we can trust in terms of Saka consistency. But 60% believe Saka could actually be the one as your captain this week. This might actually be truth, but we need to think about Saka, because Saka, personally for me, when I expect him to do well, he disappoints. So that's a concern for sure. Haaland, Chelsea, still a young side. Chelsea is skeptical even though they win 4-1, but Haaland could still go big, right? We still remember Manchester United game. He produced that 2 goals, 1 assist. Against Young Boys, he played and he scored 2 goals, right? So he reminds us that he still can be an option, but most likely people are going for Salah. I think that's the one that people are going to, unless you want to go the likes of Son, Nketiah in the top 5. I'm not too sure. What do you think, mate?
Yeah, Salah is the option at the moment. It just feels like that's the best chance for goals. Liverpool are at home as well. And based on my thing, just based on my thing, because he's the out of Newcastle, Manchester United, Arsenal, Liverpool, those the top 4 I have in my attacking scores. Salah's the one who's just the most secure at the moment in terms of he's going to play, he's in form. Last week was an anomaly, of course. Because Saka, who is second there, but he's been poor. He's only had, since game week 9, he's only had one shot on target, I think. So you can, maybe, well, I'll look it up for the deadline stream, but I think he's only had one shot on target. So far, he's only had, since he came back from injury, he's only had one assist. So it's hard to justify it. But again, tonight, Arsenal play. Let's see how that happens, and then we can revisit that. Haaland is also, at the moment, I rate Haaland above Saka, actually. The nice thing about because they've already had the Champions League match already Tuesday night, and their matchup is the last match of the week, which is on Sunday. So definitely I can see Haaland doing well. You just have to hide behind the sofa for the Salah match and wait for the City match. Yeah, because it looks tough. It looks like a tough match because it's Chelsea, but then it's not really. So it's just a case of whether or not something we talked about earlier, whether Haaland is the person to score the goals. So that may not be the case.
Yeah. For the past 2 weeks, I got it wrong. I mean, game week 10, we all captain Salah because City play United. Then he scored last week. Game week 11 is really a different level. We don't expect those kind of thing. But Liverpool could actually go big, or even Haaland go big against Spurs. It doesn't happen. This week, interesting. I think if you trust Haaland in terms of captaincy, even though Chelsea, I think he's still decent. I think most of the managers will captain Haaland, as the stats always show. Even though maybe Liverpool has a better fixture, Haaland still among the top captains. So Salah could actually be differential pick, even less of Saka, right?
Yeah. So even and the thing with Haaland is that right now, is he just saving his best to play against the bigger teams? We saw that against Manchester United. Will we see it against Chelsea?
Okay. We're going to discuss again in our deadline stream. Let's go to our team pick for this week, Min. It's already 1:15 hour mark. All right. Let's go to your team first. What you've been thinking for this week, Min? You have one free transfer, I believe, and is it 1 million in the bank?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So I've been looking at this and wondering, and it's hard to look at making changes in my front seven at the moment. The front seven does seem to be a bit nailed. If you look at Salah, Douglas Luiz, Gordon, and Mbeumo, they're not leaving. Obviously, Mbeumo is playing Liverpool, but given I wouldn't say Liverpool are exactly. Liverpool have been better defensively, but against a stronger attacking team like Brentford, it's hard for me not to see them score. So crazily enough, the only doubt I have in that front seven is Saka. So we have to see whether I move horizontally to the likes of Martinelli, or take a hit to bring in a striker. Yeah. So a striker could be, if I want a real punt and back my statistical analysis and bring in Manchester United, Holland, but the problem with that is he has bad matchups after. It's a good matchup for this week, so 1 week punt might not be good enough. So probably not. It's something I think to.
I would prefer if you're thinking about Nketiah over Holland.
So if I bring in Nketiah for Amdouni, but it means I do have to sacrifice someone. So it could be Saka. Or I don't think Douglas Luiz for a cheapie is enough to get the funds I need to bring in Nketiah. So we'll have to see. But you're right, Nketiah is a decent option because Arsenal are top of the ticker as well. So definitely something to think about.
I mean, if I may see your team, if let's say Cash is doubtful to play, Pedro Porro could actually still okay to play away to Wolf. I don't see any problem in terms of your defense. So yeah, that's why I feel.
Yeah, that will be a dilemma because from my understanding, Cash is fit and ready to play for the European match. So we'll see what happens there. So the other thing I want to think about is is selling off my keeper. So we'll talk more about that in the deadline stream.
Pickford 4.4, right? I suppose. So if you want to go, you can go down like Arola, who actually people are picking, but you could actually stretch for Johnston, right? So that could be an interesting one.
Yep.
All right, let's go to to my team. Interesting. I have 2 free transfer this week. We planned this week. I have some plan before coming to this week, of which I just read out my team first. Arola in goal, Cash, Gabriel, and Simikas, Palmer, Bowen, Saka, Son, and Salah. Salah has the captaincy armband for now. Haaland and Watkins. On my bench, you can see Strakosha, Brathwaite, Taylor, and Osula. I think I'm not going to favor any of those players over the players I have in my first 11. People thinking about benching Palmer against City. We already know Palmer potential. At any time he can actually score goal, even got a penalty. I don't think in any matches, if let's say Newcastle, City, or even Arsenal, I think you just play him because you just never know what you're gonna get from Palmer. So if let's say 2 points, so be it. It's just 5 million. Coming to this game, if let's say Palmer blank against Spurs in Gameweek 11, my potential move is actually I want to see whether Adingra could actually be a potential pick that I can go and come back to Palmer later. But after that 12 point, I don't think I can go there now because Adingra is like a really big punt. Palmer looks like a mainstay for Chelsea now, even though their fixtures are tough. So I think Palmer are not going anywhere anytime soon. Other than that, I have really no cash in the bank. And if let's say cash fit, I'm not too sure what I'm going to do for that 2 free transfer, if I may say. And it looks like that I'm going to burn my transfer. I'm not too sure about that.
Well, you have 2 transfers. Are you still going to back Areola?
I don't have any money to upgrade my keeper for sure.
Okay.
And they mentioned West Ham has good top ticker right now in next 6, so might as well just keep him.
Fair enough.
The only thing if I want to do to get money is downgrade Bowen. But I'm not too sure I'm going to do that.
No, you can't do that.
Am I going to downgrade Watkins to the likes of Darwin ahead of Fulham at home? I'm not too sure about that, So you can see my dilemma. I don't have any money because I'm not going to move Saka, Son, or Salah, right?
Yeah. So the Watkins one could be the key actually. Because of his current form, and we'll see how they play for the European match Thursday night.
I think what I'm going to say, if cash doubtful, it will make my decision easier. I'll change cash to someone cheaper, say Crystal Palace defender. So I have some money in the bank for future. If not, if everyone healthy, I might stick with this team and just make Brentford to Lascelles 4 million, Newcastle, and maybe concentrate next feature. I'm not too sure about that.
Lascelles, yeah, I guess Lascelles could do it. Newcastle play Bournemouth followed by Chelsea. Well, okay, for that you really have to check out how the injury situation is. It's going to be tough.
It's going to be tough. Or I just make sideways Osula to Mumbama 4.3 million and just burn my transfer.
Okay. Burn the transfer.
I think Pras did mention he feels that his team is good. He just need to change to a 3.9 million other keeper. So that's what he's thinking.
Yeah. Or you can tweak to have another, I don't know. Yeah, but you said Lascelles just now, right? So that's an option. But if cash is fit, then I don't know. Do you have any money to sell sell Braithwaite for someone else? Is that an option?
Downgrade to Bulldog 3.8 and get some
Yeah,
point 2 million.
yeah,
But
just for the funds. Yeah.
I mean, but what do you think? Because my team is not that secure. We already know potential Simikas might not really 100% play every single time. Gomez could come in, so I need some bench that I can trust to come in. Gabriel also we cannot trust, right? Tactical could easily bench him against Burnley. I will not be surprised of that for sure.
Okay, so previously he was benched because they felt it was safe to rest him against Sheffield United. Yeah, but
I
will
will
that
not be
happen again?
surprised kalau Arteta play us again. Dia mainkan kita lagi this week and Gabriel bench.
I guess it's possible. It is possible. It is. I don't know. Arteta's being a bit erratic in that. So yeah, I guess it is possible. So I don't want to.
He just do not need to give us any excuse. He just
If
say, yeah, just
because I totally understand, because if Partey was fit, I would be feeling the same problem with you, which is with the White wouldn't play at right back. So, but of course, White doesn't get rested, fortunately.
So
Yeah.
I feel I need a fourth good bench. I didn't say that Brentford could potentially still okay at 4 million. Everton can, in terms of defense, they're still good. But Leicester could be a gem inside that Newcastle asset defense with Burn and Bournemouth out for a while.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's my thinking for now lah. But this still for the time that we can discuss. Let's take up some question, Min. There's a lot of question from Rakan FPL. We'll take some question. Yeah, did mention Eze coming to fray, but Kudus also could be an option. But those are different price, right? Is it 1 million different in terms of price? I believe so.
Assuming price is a factor, Kudus. I just felt because the fixtures, West Ham have great fixtures coming up, and Forest at away is Forest is better playing if they're playing away. West Ham are better to play against Forest when Forest are not at home. And in this case, Forest are not at home. They're playing at West Ham in London. So Kudus. And I think from now on, Kudus will get the start. So it's not an issue.
So next question about Kudus over Bowen, man. If you don't have any issue, money is not an issue. Yeah.
This is hard, Rakan. If on the assumption that Kudus support is position is secure, I feel that Kudus might be the better pick. I think Kudus will really start to push on from here.
All right, I think this is also interesting. Sell Bruno for Vitoma. Both have fixture at home, Luton and Sheffield United. But if I have Bruno, I think it's more secure.
Yeah. Why would you? I mean, based on my attacking score statistics, definitely I would keep Bruno. It's not enough for me to buy Vitoma, because Bruno is just a more direct threat as well. He's playing in the middle too.
Next question. I like this one, Min. If let's say cash are not available, Saliba, same price, 5.2, 5.1. So he's a viable option.
Yes. Burnley, chances of Burnley scoring against Arsenal are low, so definitely it's more secure. To be fair, Fulham aren't great either. So if Aston Villa, if Cash is fit, then you may consider it's quite equal actually, to be honest. Fulham or Burnley are not great goal scoring sides. Does Burnley have? We don't know if Burnley has Foster back.
Oh, so I'm not too sure on that.
Foster is back, then you might want to think about just staying at Cash, because Foster can score even against Arsenal, I think.
Question about Gabriel. Do you keep or sell? I'm not too sure if this is something like luxury move. I'm not too sure.
Keep. I would keep.
We shall see this game lawan Burnley. If Arteta play out again, I think it's gone for sure. I'm not going to play out by Arteta anymore. All right. So next question. Play Johnston or Arula. I think if you have Johnston, maybe he's a better pick, right, me?
I played Johnston actually. Yeah, I just feel that West Ham's defense are poor. And Awoni is back. I think Awoni will score against West Ham anyway.
Okay. Question about Madison, keep or sell. I'm not sure about Madison's situation. It should be okay, is it, man?
Yeah, it should be okay, and I don't see a reason to sell him because next match he plays Wolves as well. So Wolves, although they are better attacking, but not great defensively, and the following then they home against Aston Villa. So a tough match, but no reason not to play him.
All right. I like this question, Min, because we already discussed. I have Brandweight, sideways to Lascelles. I think I will do it Lascelles because of my reasoning in terms of Newcastle defense.
Okay.
Interesting one, Min. Simicas or Michel?
If I had to choose,
If you're bringing someone in, I think you should trust Michel more than Simicas, right, Min?
yes, yeah, I would go for
After latest benching, that's why.
Also, game week, if you don't have them and want to bring in game week, because Liverpool also play City
Man
in
City,
game week,
right.
so that's not gonna yield a clean sheet. So yeah, Mitchell at the moment.
All right, Min. Question about Aston Villa, luxury move. 1 week, Douglas Lewis to Diaby. If you can move to Diaby, would you do that?
Ooh, the problem with Douglas Lewis is that his track record at home is quite impressive. So we've only seen some explosive Diaby performances, but Lewis has been more consistent. So even yeah, so far, yeah, the last few matches he scored and returned home. So this week he's at home again. So yeah, no.
Okay. Who to play? Question about Lascelles or Simicas. I still trust Simicas in terms of attacking return. That's all at home.
I go for Lascelles actually, because I think Bournemouth attacking is hopeless. So
okay, interesting. I'm not too sure about this. Raya cannot play against Brentford, is it? After the break, right? Parent club, is it? I'm still say Raya can play because it's no longer Brentford team, right? Or is there any specific clause about Raya cannot play against his
I'm
team?
not sure if there's a clause. I mean, he is on loan, so
okay. It's on
yeah.
loan, so maybe that's why. Okay, all right, fair. Okay, all right, fair. Last question from Man. Thank you for your question, bro. Hi, bro. Yes, Michel was fantastic. Also, I guess he got Michel 15 points into his team. Good for you, man. I'll let you know my final what to do. Do you think Lascelles instead of Trippier, Adingra, or Huang He instead of Eze? So he's thinking about some option. Lascelles over Trippier, Huang Adingra over Eze. What do you think, man?
No, I still keep Trippier because I'm assuming he currently has Trippier and no, he can't.
So basically, if they say he wants downgrade Trippier to Lascelles, yeah, Trippier confirm a better assets, but I think Trippier is a better asset all around from Lascelles if money not an issue for sure. I mean, right?
Yeah, I think Trippier. You probably want to keep Trippier. For the second question, it can swing either way. So no preferences there.
Okay. All right, man. We concluded in terms of question for this week. In terms of, let's take a look. Deadline game week 12 will be on Saturday, man. At 7 p.m. likely because the fixture will be at 8 p.m. So, your last word before we go, man.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of injuries going on at the moment, so just be careful. I think it's very tricky because, again, as mentioned, I think I mentioned once upon a time that the injuries may not necessarily be the players directly impacted, but because it will impact upon the play. And Newcastle is the one in danger of having a lot of disruption to the squad. So just be patient. wait for the team news. A lot of European matches happening as well. So yeah, be ready for that.
All right. Thank you guys for joining our stream. We are really um, thankful about your coming to watch our stream. Okay. Do support us by hitting the like button and subscribe to our FPL Jedi YouTube channel, and you can receive early notification whenever we are live. Until then, stay strong. May the force be with you until we see you again. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.